This is Tom, our superintendent, Bellevue Community School District in Bellevue, Iowa, coming you with this week's Believe in the Blue update. This is an update from last week's board meeting, just to kind of let you know what's going on that way. We did have some open enrollment requests. We had 6 requests to enter Bellevue. They were all improved from other districts, from Andrew and Dubuque that way. 0 looking to move out of Bellevue district that way. We had 1 resignation. Kylie Biederman resigned assistant softball based on her future plans that way. We're going to miss Kylie and her enthusiasm and energy. COVID-19 update, vaccine update. We are scheduled to have the vaccine today, Tuesday, February 16 that way, starting up at 9 o'clock. I know we are on a late start today. Teachers still coming in early for that and working around schedules that way. We are having that done through the Jackson County Department of Public Health that way. So just so you kind of are aware that way what's going on in school there. We are still around 11% positivity rate for COVID-19 in the state. Overall, we're number 7, the 7th highest in the state, which is concern. Out of 99 counties, we are number 7 at this time. So that is a concern. We had a review of the financial audit. Everything was good. We got the highest rating you could get as a school district that way. No instances of non-compliance were found. No questionable travel expenses. No evidence of misuse of statewide sales, service and use tax, or issues with any financial information with the state of Iowa. The expenditures for the year did not exceed the certified budget. Things went really well. We did approve the auditors, O'Connor and Brooks, to do for the next 3 years. So that was approved by the board. Want to remind everyone we have a revenue purpose statement, and that is a vote on March 2nd, along with some other issues on the ballot in the county and the area that way, from Eastern Iowa Community College and also the Jackson County Jail. This is not a tax. If you vote no, or if it doesn't pass, it's not going to raise your taxes, not going to lower your taxes. If it passes, it's not going to raise your taxes, not going to lower your taxes. It has no impact on your tax. The only thing it has an impact on is the ability for our district to spend this money. One thing to remember here, along with this, is that our tax rate over the last 10 years has went down from 14.04 per $1,000 of net assessed taxable valuation to $10.88 per $1,000. So that's a decrease, as you can tell, of over $3 in that way. So we have some of the lowest tax rates in our area, and in the state, we're definitely in the bottom part of that as well. So that's a real positive for us. Then we also are refinancing our bonds that we use our sales tax for. That way, that's going to be a March 2nd. Actually, it will end up being, we'll approve something later on in March at a special board meeting that way, but that's going to save our taxpayers roughly around $300,000 to $325,000. So that's another positive for us that way financially. Just want to emphasize that to everyone. Look at some capital improvement projects that way, just making some updates. Nothing major this year. We're going to be looking at some ceiling tile replacements and light replacements in the middle school, high school edition. Actually it was from way back when in the 70s. Those are still original. We're just going to update those as we've been doing in all the hallways to this point. Have some other work at the elementary and middle school too, but minor things as a whole. One thing we're also looking at doing, or the board approved to do at this point, is to purchase Chromebooks. We have our annual rotation of Chromebooks. So we're going to purchase about 100 Chromebooks for students for next school year. The wait time in those is significant that way. It can be 3, 4, up to 5 months that way for wait time on Chromebooks. We want to make sure we have those obviously by the first day of school for the 21-22 school year, which seems like a long ways away, but it will be here before we know it. We also changed some board policies that way. We had some special COVID-19 leave policies that were taken out that way. Those are in the notes, which are online if you want to review those that way. Legislative update that way. A lot of things we're going to talk about. Senate File 159. That's going to be in the House right now too. Some discussion this week, I believe, and ultimately it's a voucher program. It's a Students First Scholarship called that way, but ultimately it gives money to private organizations to take students from public schools that way. Failing public schools, which there are always going to be failing public schools based on the data that the state uses. There has to be 5% of schools are failing, and those 5% may change every year. Does that have any impact on Bellevue? None at this time whatsoever. but in the future, it just grows. Everything over time, STOs have grown and everything like that has grown. So we need to be advocating for public education. That way, that's my job here. And that's where we stand that way for public education, making sure we're getting full funding and not siphoning off funding to go to other organizations. So not meant as a hit to any private organization or anything like that, but public schools are the foundation of education, and we need to protect that foundation and continue to fund them appropriately, and everything like that. We also talked about some COVID-19 funding. We received about $173,000. That was based on our poverty rate or Title I funding as well. Kind of combination goes with Title I funding. Like I said, we received $173,000, which seems like a lot, but then we look around us at some other schools who are smaller than us in enrollment, and they received $250,000, $350,000, $650,000, up to $1 million. It's a good problem to have, but all of our costs for COVID-19 are not covered in this $173,000. Some places are going to be able to cover all their expenses, plus offer summer programming for students to help them out, as I think it is an unfair situation that way. There is some discussion in the legislature right now. It's just taken out of a bill that way for SSA, but there has been some discussion about giving schools like us who've been in session all year long, face-to-face, $65 per student or something similar. That has been taken out of legislation. Some rumors are that will come back into some other future legislation that way as well. But I guess my whole point is here, yes, we receive that money, but no, that does not cover all of our costs. It doesn't even come close to covering all of our costs either. So also looked at some staffing discussions and sizes that way. We need to replace an ag teacher, which that will be on the next agenda's docket that way. Science teacher, which will also be on the next agenda, and a first grade teacher that way based on some retirements. Looking at the TLC group that way, the teacher leadership compensation, we are looking at to potentially have a half-time technology coordinator and also a full-time curriculum person that way. Right now, those jobs fall to people within our district at the current time, and like some more emphasis placed on those. We're also looking at a work study coordinator, which not cost us any funds at all. We are developing that. It's almost like a work-based learning curriculum that way for our students to be placed in the community or neighboring communities that way. Elementary music, looking at adding elementary music. Some of the information in the notes online, you'll see where we are a little short-staffed, or maybe more than a little. We are short-staffed in the elementary music area. And talking about sections for next school year, looking at that, how we're doing now 3- and 4-year-old preschool, which is still a very important part of our district and for our parents and for the learning of all of our students that way. Weather-related days like today, the call comes before 6 o'clock or the message gets out before 6 o'clock. Today it was a little later. It was actually about 5:25, I think, when the decision was made. Just slick roads, cold weather, just seems like the right timing to have a late start that way. It wasn't much snow, but what was there was slick, and the crews just had not been out on them and felt safer to say, okay, let's just go a 2-hour delay. And that's where we're at. So we're starting up 2 hours late today. We have tentatively scheduled the last day of school for Friday, May 28th. Was originally on our calendar for Wednesday, May 26th. We've missed multiple days that way. We're still over the amount of hours that we need according to the state of Iowa, but we are looking to end on that Friday, May 28th. That would mean not making up one full snow day. We've had some other early outs in there that way. That could change, but right now that's what we're aiming at, is that time. We've missed, as of right now, we've missed 23.5 hours or something similar to that way. So we're still over 40 hours over the mandatory requirement of 1,080 hours. We're over 1,120 hours that way. We also approved a student teaching agreement with Loras College. We had a little reading about what is school for. One of my best parts of this, or what I believe was an important part, we spend a fortune teaching trigonometry to kids who don't understand it, won't use it, and will spend no more of their lives studying math. We invest thousands of hours exposing millions of students to fiction and literature, but end up training most of them to never again read for fun. One study found that 58% of all Americans never read for pleasure as they graduate from school. A couple things with that. I'm not saying trigonometry is not important. I'm not saying math's not important. It is important. It's very important. We need to know how to do math. We need to be able to think. Those problem-solving, critical thinking skills are vital. We need to be able to do that. I'm not saying we don't teach kids to read either. That's obviously a poor statement there. But I think we need to look at what are we having them read? What are we assigning them to read? What are they reading? How can they find enjoyment in reading, get them to become lifelong readers and enjoy reading? How are we having them apply the learning in math from the curriculum to their real lives? As I've said many times before, we need to make learning both real and relevant for each and every one of our students that way on a daily basis. No matter if it's math, science, social studies, English, whatever it is, it needs to be relevant, and we need to personalize our learning to the students themselves. Information on student events and seasons that way. We are hosting a girls basketball game tonight here, and also Friday night. Tonight, Bellevue plays Northeast, with the winner playing Friday night that way. So just so you know, we are not limiting seating unless we become full in there. We're not limiting seating, but there is no concession stand, and everyone must wear a mask. No real room around that. You need to wear a mask. It's from our district. It's from the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. You need to have a mask on, but there are no concessions tonight, which should help keep a mask on that way, and no food or drink can be brought. And we will have glasses of water for people from one of our water dispensers available throughout the game if people want to go out and get a drink of water. Just so you know that we have a dance team event coming up February 21st, that each dance person gets 10 tickets. It's not necessarily a wide open public event. We're still looking at limiting some seating there and how we're doing things, and that will take care of a lot. EICC Regional Center, the Eastern Iowa Community College Regional Center, has been talked about. They're looking to build on at the Clinton campus and at the DeWitt campus. Both of those are 45 minutes to an hour away. They're also going to put some funds into Maquoketa, which obviously all you know is about 25 minutes away. We do go up there for welding right now. We have in the past. I anticipate that continuing, offering some more opportunities for students. I'm not a huge advocate of driving to DeWitt or driving to Clinton, but we may have some students who wish to do that way, but that'll be on the ballot. Talk about the Beyond the Blue committee that way in the meeting that we had. We are keeping with the same 4 nominees that we had from last year, that we never had a ceremony at the end of the year. We will have a ceremony. Those people are Steve Grable, Nancy Kiefer, and Nancy Rowling, Greg Schulte, and Art Sunleaf that way. So they're excellent candidates. There are some bios on our website if you want to read those, but that will be the day before graduation, that Friday, May 28th. And they'll speak to our students that way as well. And they'll be in the second floor of the old Button Factory. It's been revamped with the home of Bellevue Big right now. That way too. Graduation, once again, is on Saturday, May 29th at 4. We're working on the 21-22 calendar yet that way. We talked about shared positions, and then comments from the building principal, superintendent, and board members. A couple comments to the tournament of the books happening at the elementary. I'll talk about the wrestling going on. We had Will Steinbeck and Ryder Mickles qualified for district wrestling, did not advance beyond that, but good season for them, along with good season for several of our other wrestlers that way as well. We're in a very tough sectional. Some of them did not advance on, but just a good season by Coach Rebarger and everyone. Boys basketball team was defeated by Tipton last night to end their season. Great job by the boys all year, playing hard, played extremely hard, played very good defense all year long. Coach Kinake and his staff and all the team, very good season in that regard. And also make sure you take a look at Beyond the Numbers, or Bellevue Community School District by the Numbers. Give some information. It's been way too long, but I will let you go from there. If anyone has any question, anything like that, feel free to let us know. Warm weather, I've been told, is on its way. I'm not sure how warm that will be and how much snow will eventually melt, but we have plenty to melt around here. Have a good one, everyone.